First Aleph Qal Imperfect. In the last module, the one on first Aleph in general, I said that the first Aleph has a preference for segol. But then there are a few where the Aleph goes quiescent and you have a holon theme vowel. Those are the ones I want to show you here. And we could have chosen amar. Amar is the most common word, or most common verb that does this. But achal is also common, and it is the one that Ross has in his paradigm tables at the back of the book on page 547. So here it is. You have the holon theme vowel. You see that there? So you have yochal, tochal, tochal, tochli, ochal, yochlu, tochalna, tochlu, tochalna, nochal. This is the first time we've seen a holon, I think. First time we've seen a holon theme vowel, or prefix vowel. If I said theme vowel, I meant prefix vowel. This one right here. And the preterite, jussive, and cohortative, they also follow this as well. So you have vayochal. You got some changes here in the theme vowel, but you still have the O as a prefix vowel. Vaochal and yochal, yochla. Okay, so quiescent aleph, holon prefix vowel. Quiescent aleph, so no consonant, or not ceasing to function as a consonant, no vowel under it, and a holon theme vowel. This one, by the way, this is the 1CS form. I was wondering why I had that there. This is the 3MS form. The 1CS form, the holon moves over. And I think, yes, Ross has them both there as well. But he gives the impression they're both 3MS. This one here is the 1CS form. Okay. What about this form here? Why have I highlighted it? Ochal. Well, the reason is because of this. Achal, if you were to add the aleph, that's the prefix, to the first root, which is also an aleph, what happens is the quiescent aleph drops, or it just becomes ochal. You see, you've got aleph, 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 aleph. That's the first root vowel, right? Or the first root consonant. And you have it here as well. Normally, the prefix here, yud, tav, 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 aleph, you'd have two alephs together. And that just looks ugly or is unnecessary or something, that they dropped it. So, just a small little note on that. Now the theme vowel. The theme vowel can move around quite a bit. It can be a patach or one of these IE vowels, that's segol or tzere. What it will not be is a holon. If it was a holon, if you had something like yomor, you'd end up with two holons together, and that isn't allowed. So I guess it doesn't sound good. So you have all these different variations. Normally it's a patach. So omar. In pause, this here is lengthened to a tzere, omer. Here it's reduced, because you have the accent shift here in the preterite. So vayomer. This is actually very common just because it happens to show up a lot in the preterite form. Here's the preterite in pause, so now this has lengthened. So segol to a patach, don't ask me why. Or at least it's returned to this, I guess that's what's going on. Vayomar, vaomar, the patach shows up in the 1CS, preterite. Here it's segol, here it's patach. Vaochel, with a different verb now, to eat versus to say. This one you have a tzere. So I'm not giving you rules here as to how to predict what it is. I don't think there are any. All I'm trying to say is the theme vowel can vary, but it won't be holon, not holon, okay? Because then you have two holons in a row. Okay, some of these things you'll just learn as vocabulary items, especially this here, vayomer, because it's just so common. Finally, see, yeah, that's the last slide. Let's just do a quick comparison here between the strong verb. This is our base form upon which we build everything. This is the first aleph we've been talking about. And then I have just as for comparison the two patterns of first gutturals. So yifkod, Hidik. Hidik is what we normally have as a prefix vowel. And what we have in this first aleph, these odd ones, is the holum. Okay? Yochal. And then we have our two patterns for the gutturals. We have the one with the patach, because of the first guttural, and then we have the one with the segol. And this is the one that is either stative or second and third guttural that produces this patach in the theme vowel. So we have two patterns there. Now one last thing, just for those who are interested in details. If you run down this list here, ochal, tochal, tochal, tochli, you see this little line. This line shows up, this little bar, in this form, and this form, and this form, which, as you know, are the forms with vocalic suffixes, right? What is this here for, and why isn't it here? Well, first of all, what is it? It's the metheg. And I think what's going on here is that the metheg is here to keep this as an open syllable. Remember, the aleph has koyest, and because of that, this syllable is now rammed up against this this shava. And if you didn't have that, if you didn't have this metheg, a person may read this tochli rather than tochli. You hear the difference? 3 syllables, tochli versus tochli. This keeps the syllable open and keeps this a vocal shava. If you didn't have this, someone may read it as 2 syllables, tochli, and then this would be one large syllable, and this would be silent. So it's interesting, you have a metheg here that's really there to affect this vowel, even though it's written to the left, or to the right. The vowel's to the left because holum happens to be placed there, right, as opposed to down here. If it was a aleph or something, or a patach or a kametz, of course it'd be down here, and your metheg would more than likely be on the left of it. Anyway, that's all really just little bits of detail, but if you're curious as to why you have a metheg sitting here, it looks like it's all by itself. I think it's to keep this as an open syllable, so that you pronounce this shava as a vocal shava. And that is consistent with what you have here. Tifkadi, tochli. You want to keep it as close to the base pattern as you can. But if this guy goes quiescent, which is what you have here, then all of a sudden you have this problem where it's ambiguous as to whether this is vocal or silent, and this keeps it vocal. Okay, anyway, ignore that if you're not interested. The most important thing here is that in the imperfect, these 5, or a few verbs, these 5 in particular that we looked at in the last module, they have the holum theme vowel, or holum prefix vowel, and the theme vowel can shift around.